Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this session. I think we've just got one or two more people who are joining us, but we'll make a start. We'll kick off because I know we've got quite a packed schedule and program running today. So it's my pleasure to introduce this session, the Team Wales Nation Branding Through Higher Education session. I know our audience today is far and wide. We have people from many different corners of the world, so it's a real pleasure to welcome you to the session, and I hope that you've had a good conference so far. My name's Lorraine Westwood. I am Chief Marketing Officer and Vice President International at Bangor University, a post which I joined in the middle of lockdown. So it's my first experience of working at a Welsh institution. So I share in the joined interest in the subject of this conference today. This particular session is looking to focus on the partnership between Study in Wales as a brand and the Cymru Wales brand, and the working together to develop an impactful brand Wales. And we've got a fantastic lineup of speakers who I will come on to in a minute. But just a few little housekeeping bits to start off with. Normally in a conference, you'd start off by talking about where the nearest exits and toilet facilities are. But as we are most of us sat in our own homes, I'm assuming you've got all that covered and that you're all sorted. So just a few other little bits. During this session, we would like to encourage you to put forward questions that you might like to put to our panel today. So I would like to invite you to use the Q&A function that you can see on your screens. If you post your questions into the Q&A chat functions, I will be keeping an eye on them, and then when we get to the end of the formal presentations, I'll try and pick up as many of those as I can to bring them to our panel's attention. And don't forget to tweet. I know there's been a lot of activity already on Twitter today, so hashtag GW21, and please tag at Wales_global and at UK events in doing that. As I said, I've only been at Bangor University for a relatively short period of time, and my past experience is over 20 years of working in higher education, but over the border in England. And I've worked at big inner city institutions and small specialist. And the idea of destination marketing, which is really what the Team Wales approach is based around, is something that when I worked in Birmingham, the idea of Destination Marketing Birmingham as a joint set of institutions together was something that I always aspired to but never managed to achieve. So I think it is fantastic that in this context we've got two organisations that can bring that piece together and underpin the work of all of the individual institutions based in Wales. Wales is such a diverse country and has such a diverse range of not only academic institutions, but locations and cultural heritage. And I think often that isn't visible or understood by our target audiences. Wales has been heard of, but without a clear understanding of what and who Wales is and what the higher education offer is. So I think having this global Wales, this brand Wales approach to underpin the understanding of Wales as an HE destination, and to underpin the work of each of the Welsh institutions for us to springboard our own activity off, and to enable us all as individual institutions to have some common themes, common language, common ways of presenting Wales to everybody's mutual benefit, I think is fantastic. And so I'm, particularly excited to have these three speakers here today to talk to us about this work. And we've got Craig Goodwin, who's from the head of Cymru Wales brand. Tracy Marengi from Global Wales Marketing, who's Global Wales Marketing and Communications Manager, and then Kath Griffiths, who's from the University of Wales Trinity St David, who's the Executive International Officer. I'm going to shut up now and move over to them, because it's actually the content in their presentations that we're all here for. And although I've had sneaky peeks at them, I've not seen them in their entirety either. So I'm going to hand to Craig, first of all, who is going to be our first presenter. And we'll go through the presentations, and then I'll come back to you at the end to pick up questions. So please don't forget to post your questions. Craig.
Thank you, Lorraine. So first of all, I want to just give you a little bit of context of what the Cymru Wales brand is. So the Cymru Wales brand is our nation identity and perspective for selling Wales overseas as part of the Welsh Government. So we are wholly in Welsh Government, with some of our brand partners, such as Study in Wales, sitting slightly outside as a connected brand element to the Cymru Wales Nation branding. I'll give a quick overview video first of all, just to give a little bit of context around the brand, where we are and what we've been doing. Hopefully this video will play with audio and you'll see everything come through. It's a cut down version, so there is longer versions of this video around, but with the time constraints of presenting today, I've cut this down, and I've got a nice video at the end as well to show you, which demonstrates some of the work we've been doing. So fingers crossed this video plays and you get the audio, and then I'll be back in a second.
Cherish the past, adorn the present, construct for the future. The words of Clough Williams-Ellis, architect of Portmeirion in North Wales. Wales has a past to cherish, but our image is continually evolving, and our mission is to develop a strong and unifying identity for our nation's future. An identity that is proud of who we are, and that is contemporary and engaging to the world. A brand that drives Wales forward on the UK and international stage, and also inspires the people of Wales to get involved. A feeling as much as a logo, the brand provides a platform for our nation across a wide range of sectors, seeking to engage, inform, invite, challenge and support in equal measure. It draws together disparate strands of activity, creating a glue that unites the great people and places of Wales, digitally, physically, and culturally. Authentic, creative, alive. The brand will harness innovation to reveal new stories that complement our country's rich history, beauty, and culture. The core idea, simple. This is Wales. A statement, direct, confident, unpretentious, an invitation to open your eyes to what Wales is today. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, a challenge to reconsider what you thought you knew about Wales. Our visual identity is about more than art direction. It's the visual expression of our belief and values. And where better to start than with a dragon that sits proudly on the Welsh flag, a Ddraig Goch. This new reductive and contemporary rendering of the familiar icon re-establishes the link with our national flag. Another feature informed by the flag is the dominant horizon line, itself suggesting infinite ideas and possibility. It reflects the brand's belief in Bro, the land under our feet, rooted in our communities and with real social purpose, and Byd, the world beyond the horizon. Wales is built on both. Our aim now is to bring together great creative work with bold, challenging ideas across Wales to push our nation's story forward, to share compelling new narratives from our country, narratives that elevate our status, surprise and inspire, change perceptions, do good things, and are unmistakably Wales. According to the rough guides, the national spirit is undergoing a remarkable renaissance. The ancient symbol of the country, a Ddraig Goch, is waking. Past, present, and future. This is Wales.
Okay, so hopefully you could hear that, and it sums up the brand a little bit in a top level view. Very passionate voice as well. Can't beat that. So what is the destination branding? So basically for us as a top level, as was discussed in that video, we're looking at the nation brand to provide a single identity for Wales to be understood internationally, and also a modern Wales. So understanding what Wales has to offer today. We're very proud in Wales that things have evolved over the years. We've got a very proud history in our culture, our heritage, our industry. So things like that have built Wales as a nation in the past, and what we're looking to do is build on that in the future now. And a lot of our hero products are built on historic elements. So we've got Cadw, which I'll come on to later as a brand partner, but also things such as the reinvention of slate mines into zip wires for tourism, positioning North Wales as a international destination for adventure. Some of these things have just come around in the last maybe 5 to 10 years since we've had the brand, and it's coincidental as well as a little bit of direction from both sides of Welsh Government and the initiatives that have started that to help us bring that together. A lot of it then is around supporting the wider Welsh Government goals. So the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act is a massive part for us, as well as the programme for government. Ultimately, as Welsh Government civil servants, our aim is to support the people of Wales, and those not just only that live in Wales, but those who are looking to invest in Wales, to come and visit Wales, but also to come and study in Wales. And I'll pass on to Tracy in a little bit to give a little bit more on the Study in Wales brand, because my presentation is just literally going to skim across the top a lot of these areas and give you a little bit of an overview. So the brand, as I said earlier, the Draig Goch, the red dragon that sits at the top of the brand, is our Cymru Wales destination. What we were finding in the previous delivery was that there was lots of different brands out there for Wales. Lots of people going out there representing Wales internationally, from, I don't know, musical performances right the way through to conferences and events. And there was a disjointed approach to it, even within Welsh Government, but also broader with our partners. So what we wanted to do is a single identity that could be adapted to work with our partners in our pillar areas. So Visit Wales, Trade and Invest Wales, looking at the inward investment and export of products in and to out of Wales, Food and Drink, Creative Wales, and then Study in Wales as well. We've got a number of brand initiatives and brand products that we're launching or have launched already. Destination level items such as the Wales Way, which is a series of commuter routes throughout Wales that don't just focus on driving routes. They are multimodal transport routes of how you can get around Wales in multiple different ways. So there will be a focus on electric vehicles in the future, but it's also about cycling routes and walking routes, and having a look at the options around using Wales as a destination, not to come in, experience one location and then leave, but the 3 connected routes will take you around some of the key areas of Wales. And we've got a little piece of Welsh that we use on this, which is Ugam Ogam, which basically summarizes to zigzag, that you're not meant to just drive along the A470 from Cardiff to North Wales. You're meant to stop and zigzag off of that road to experience what is around that area at the time. Some of the additional brands that we're working with as part of the Cymru Wales brand family, Transport for Wales, the metro system is part of that. Cadw, which is our heritage area, so they look after a lot of our historical monuments, castles, historic buildings, listed buildings, etc. And recently, the National Forest for Wales has added to this portfolio as well. A lot of these may look slightly different, the Cadw and National Forest for Wales and Transport for Wales, for example, but the top level areas, what we're trying to do is give a little bit of a consistent brand internally, as well as internationally. The intention for the consumer brands is that they share a lot of our brand values. So as mentioned on the video earlier, authentic, creative, alive are some of the values we follow when we're checking off any pieces of work, when we're delivering across any areas of the brand. The brand is a 10-year program or 10-year initiative, started in 2016. We're 5 years into it now, and it's to provide a bit of consistency, as I said, across the areas that we're doing. So the first 5 years was to focus on establishing the brand. We launched with the tourism and then soon followed with Trade and Invest. And I think Study came on board maybe 2 years ago now. Tracy may have an exact timescale. I can't remember exactly the date that they joined, but we've expanded the brand over that 5 years to include more and more partners. So as much as it's a 10-year initiative, I don't think it's 10 years and then stop. I think it's right that we use it as a 10-year initiative to ensure that we're reviewing things and everything is appropriate going forward. The impact level that we're in at the moment, I would say this is where we sit. What we're trying to do is gain international recognition through our brand work. We're winning a number of awards. It's very difficult in the current climate to get, obviously, international recognition for things. So what we're trying to do is focus on some of our areas of the brand to our in Wales and UK audiences, where some of the other elements of the brand, such as Study, Trade and Invest, are considering how we reach our audiences internationally through digital means until international travel and events come back. And then we'll continue with our events programs. The teams also have a number of PR and media relationships as well around building the destination awareness for Wales and strengthening it through some of the awards recognitions we've had and considerations in some of the major print titles across the world as well. The legacy aspects of it, so we're looking at some of the initiatives such as the Wales Way. The one I didn't touch on that slide was Wales Made. That's a working title at present. But what we're looking to do is establish a number of initiatives that will be used as a long-lasting legacy element. So the Wales Way, once that is established as the 3 routes within Wales, it's likely that that will last much longer than the brand itself. It'll become almost a standalone element. Wales Made is looking at bringing together some high quality case studies of businesses within Wales or education. It could be pretty much everything that Wales has to offer and how we present that internationally. It's not a showcase for that business, it's a showcase for Wales. So say, for example, we pick a whiskey supplier. It's not giving that whiskey supplier an advantage overseas. That's not the intention of Wales Made. It's to show international audiences the quality of the produce from Wales and how we take things forward internationally as well. I'm just going to give a quick overview of the Study in Wales brand. So this is the visual identity. The intention is that each of the areas of the brand has a consistent look and feel, so you can tell that they're part of the same family, but also enough adjustments to them so they reach the target audience and they appeal to the target audience. I won't steal any of Tracy's thunder on this one. I'll let Tracy go into a little bit more detail, but as you can imagine, the Trade and Invest audience, where we're talking at CEOs and investors from around the world, is very different to a tourism consideration, but also a student and everything else. But we're also conscious that these people do cross over as well. So a potential student to Wales could be an investor in the future, and a business context would also probably like to visit and live in Wales and explore Wales the way we want to showcase it as well. One of the key things we do across the brand as well, and somebody can put this into the chat bar for me, that'd be great, is the assets.wales.com library. So this is almost like an offshoot of the brand. It was something we wanted to do, but it's building and improving all the time. So what we have on assets.wales.com is a large library of free to use photography for the positive promotion of Wales. It's all under the Crown copyright license. It's all explained on the site, and if you contact the team there, they'll be able to explain exactly what you can use and how you can use it. But we've also got a large, very large amount of video B-roll. So people who are looking to produce videos of Wales as a destination, we've got a large amount of content that we give out to TV production companies. We give out to individuals who are producing content for their businesses to promote Wales. As long as it fits into the positive promotion of Wales, then we're pretty much happy for people to use them free of charge. So have a look at that link when you get a chance, and please ask the team any questions you have around the usage and things on that as well. Just to give a couple of case studies and how we approach our content. So there's no point in doing a nation brand unless there's a connection between them. And I think this is what Lorraine was mentioning earlier, is that you can have identities, you can have the same logo, but unless all of the brands and elements are working together, there's pretty much no point in it. So we've come up with this initiative called Codes, which is commission once, distribute everywhere. So every piece of content we're commissioning from the Cymru Wales brand, we consider exactly who the audience is and where the reach could be. I'll try and give a rough example off the top of my head. So let's consider a international student come to study at Bangor University. That university student may come, we may interview that student for study in Wales. That would be a great example, and actually one that we're going to use in a second. But we could also introduce that student for tourism as an international perspective on how they see Wales, what the benefits are, what they've seen. So we can use that content internationally to sell Wales to overseas as a tourism destination as well. There's many examples of how things will work across multiple areas of the brand, but there's also many examples of how things will work just solely in a single area, and that's fine too. We're not trying to make everything and stretch it across every single area of the brand, but we're trying to look and work smarter. So we're first of all saving taxpayers' money on when we're producing content, but also we're avoiding duplication. So say, for example, if we're contacting a company and then the following week another part of the Wales brand is contacting them for a case study too, we're wasting time with that business or that individual, and that's not good for us or for them. So what we did around the example here, there's the Gwyl Dewi content we did for St. David's Day on March the 1st. So that was a 48-hour celebration of Wales digitally. First time we've done it to this scale. Normally we do a number of physical events around the world, and it went down really well. I think the video content alone had 13.5 million views over that 48-hour period, which is massively impressive. So that ranged everything from yoga classes in castles, the British Sign Language version of the Wales National Anthem, right the way through to some of the examples you can see on student collaborations with international universities as well. I'm going to show a video now just to demonstrate one of the Gwyl Dewi elements that worked and was distributed on wales.com, which is our top level destination platform and social media contacts, just to show how we presented Wales to students and the benefits of being in Wales. Unfortunately, this one was on a rather wet day. This video was filmed, but I think the context comes across absolutely lovely. So I'll show the video and I'll do a quick wrap up after that.
Hello everyone, happy St. David's Day. My name is Caitlin Wilder. I'm currently a Fulbright Global Wales Scholar, and I'm right outside Bangor University and looking over Bangor City. It's a really pretty town. One thing that I really love about Wales is around every corner you find something you don't expect. Part of why I've really enjoyed walking around every day is the fact that if I walk around for hours on end, I've been here 6 months, I tend to walk 2 or 3 hours a day, sometimes 4 or 5, and I'm still finding roads I haven't seen before. I'm still finding churches with really beautiful architecture. It's just really inspiring both as a person and a writer, and it's really fun to explore.
Great, so that was an example of one of the pieces that went out across St. David's Day, across our international audiences. We promoted that to certain key markets as well, just to make sure that everyone got the chance to see it. across that 48 hours as well. So that was a very top level overview of the destination branding for Wales, the Cymru Wales brand. If you've got any questions, obviously we'll take them on a panel, but my contact details are also on screen as well. So if you have anything particular you'd like to ask around the Cymru Wales brand, then please feel free to get in contact with me after this session. So I'd like to hand over to Tracy Marenghi to take you a little bit further into the detail of the Study in Wales brand. Let me stop sharing. There we go.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. I'll just get the PowerPoint up large. Is that okay? Can everyone see the large PowerPoint screen? Yeah, fantastic. Okay, let's get going. Thank you very much, Craig. I'm Tracy Marenghi and I'm going to be talking to you about the...
Tracy, sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt. It's not on presenter view.
Sorry.
Do you just want to put it onto,
sorry,
because we can see your full list of slides. There we go. That's it.
There you go. All right. So I keep the surprises coming. Yeah. Okay. So yes, so I'm going to talk about the Study in Wales brand journey so far, a bit more from a strategic level. So why developing the joint brand approach was a good idea in the first place, how we work with our university partners and with Welsh Government brand team and Craig and his colleagues, and our collective strengths when we do work together, what our objectives are and the resources we've developed to deliver them. And then I'll finish off with some headline results so far and a quick look ahead to the future. Study in Wales is the external facing brand of the Global Wales programme. It's the Global Wales, as you've probably heard from the other sessions this morning. We're a higher education partnership comprising Universities Wales, which is where I work, the Welsh Government, British Council Wales and the Higher Education Funding Council for Wales. The Global Wales programme has provided the infrastructure to enable us all to build a strong collaborative framework between us universities and the other partner organisations. This means we're able to deliver a cohesive Team Wales approach. Study in Wales has been around for several years and originally served as a collective country brand to unify the universities on its website and at various international events. And on the screen now, you can see an example of how we did look just over a year ago. Discussions began with Craig and his colleagues in early 2019 to join forces with the Cymru Wales brand approach and become part of the portfolio of brand Cymru Wales, as Craig has just illustrated. But why unite? Was there enough for both organisations to make this work? Was there enough mutual benefit? From a Universities Wales point of view and a Global Wales, our partners, we thought there was. The Cymru Wales brand brought existing high quality resources for Study in Wales to embrace, as Craig's just illustrated. They've already made a significant investment in quality brand development and developing the portfolio and different sectors. They've had a new website spanning several key sectors deployed across Welsh Government's existing markets internationally, which improves, had the potential to improve additional opportunities for Study in Wales reach and collaboration. And they'd already established a suite of strong brand partnerships with key brands like National Geographic, Qatar Airways and Red Bull. And they brought with them, obviously, Craig and his colleagues, a team of experts and team support to bolster the Global Wales team and its endeavours. And vice versa, what were the advantages for Welsh Government to join with us and the HE sector? Our core proposition offers world-leading research, established industry partnerships, and a supportive learning environment at the heart of a rewarding student experience that brings in around 21,000 students from over 132 countries each year. By introducing higher education into the country branding portfolio, you get a sector that at that time contributed 940 million from its international students, that brought with them 13 million in visitor spending, not to mention a wealth of potential resource contributions from academics, staff and students that crosses boundaries of other government sectors like trade, health and tourism, for example. So we joined forces with the rebrand completed early 2020, just before lockdown last year. The Nation Cymru Wales brand is focused on promoting the very best of Wales to the world and has been designed to bring together a huge number of activities under a single coherent, memorable identity. So the 5 core pillars at the top that Craig introduced earlier, we've got the key identity of the Welsh Red Dragon. We're bringing higher education to the partnership, while the brand also encompasses tourism, inward investment, creative industries, health promotion and the food and drink sector. The Study in Wales pillar brings together all of the universities to help promote the benefits and opportunities of studying in Wales. We aim to do this by both outward campaigning, motivating, informing and inspiring students in the UK, the EU and across the rest of the world to make Wales their preferred destination for international study. And we provide resources for the higher education sector in Wales and other UK and international partners to offer a compelling all Wales message to prospective students and their networks. We're sharing this new experience. This is about the mutual benefits, again, of all the partners, now with Welsh Government brand team on board on the journey too. What we do must add value to our sector, and therefore working together on a cohesive plan and delivery is fundamental. For the Global Wales programme, whether it's marketing and recruitment, our strategy in priority countries, scholarships, alumni, for example, we've established cross-university teams that we call our subgroups in each area of our Global Wales work. Our marketing subgroups comprise UK and international marketing leads, and we work very closely to develop the Study in Wales strategy, creative and rollout stages through a series of workshops and presentations together to help define the brand framework, its visual identity and the various components that we need, including the website, brand guidelines, university and partner toolkits. The Global Wales programme has identified priority countries, USA, Vietnam and India at the moment as its priority markets to target, with the EU to follow in the coming academic year. Study in Wales delivers tailored campaigns in each of these countries, plus we also target students in England to encourage them to come and pop over the border to study too. Again, we work alongside our university marketing and country managers to ensure that we have the most up-to-date student and country sentiment and issues to inform our outgoing communications. The Study in Wales campaigns are about destination marketing to influence a prospect in the point in the decision where they're considering where to study. If moving away from home is on their radar, we want them to consider Wales too. And right now, of course, everything that we're doing, we're overlaying those study messages with those of reassurance and safety in the current climate. As well as our marketing campaigns, there's also a very cohesive approach with the rest of the team at Global Wales. One of the other breakout sessions going on right now is showcasing our market development work in the USA. Global Wales, alongside the USA market teams at our universities, have done a great job working together to grow our network of US student counsellors. We're up to about 23,000 at the moment. And while they're developing those relationships on the ground, the Study in Wales campaigns are targeting the prospective learners themselves in those geographical areas so that we're able to deliver a fully integrated approach. However, Study in Wales what Study in Wales cannot do is attribute its campaign activity to actual student registrations. We're a broker and there are too many breaks in the chain of prospect engagement to make that possible. But what our 15 campaigns so far over the last 2 years have done is to reach over 57 million with almost 200,000 visits to our website, and we generated 3,500 leads for our universities. Coming next, we don't want this brand partnership as a short-term project. As Craig's already explained, they've got their 10-year plan. Ours is a long-term brand partnership. We have aspirations to do much, much more. Moving ahead, the next phase of Global Wales has been agreed, taking us to 2026. And we've created a really good working partnership with the Welsh Government brand team as a strong foundation for further development. We've introduced the Study in Wales brand in our priority markets. We've improved awareness of Wales, and we can now evolve and harness this awareness to the benefit of our universities in the years ahead. So that's it from me and about how the partnership's developed. I'd like to, I'll leave some links for you in the chat, and I'm going to lead in now to Kath Griffiths from University of Wales Trinity St David's, who's going to offer us the perspective from one of our universities. Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy. So I'm Kath, and I'm from the University of Wales Trinity St David. When I was preparing this presentation, I looked at the Asset Wales website, and a quote came to me straight away: "By combining all of our voices together, we stand the best chance of being heard above the crowd." And I think that really sums up that what we're trying to do. And from our university perspective, we are just one of 8 universities welcoming students from all over the world, attracted by a culture of academic excellence, supportive learning communities, and of course, our beautiful surroundings. Although each institution, each campus, each city and town is unique in its own way, the core values of each institution underpins the ethos of a welcoming, supportive, creative, and forward-thinking Wales. The Study in Wales brand is very much consistent with the core messages of world-leading, supportive, and above all, welcoming. From an institutional point of view, and particularly from my own point of view, we've been able to penetrate new markets way beyond our service area. We've been able to work with alumni that come back to Wales and work in businesses in their own countries who've had excellent experiences of studying in Wales. In whatever institutions they study at, they do represent Wales when they leave us. And we are always represented at events, even when we're not there to be able to be represented in person. One of the key and most important things for us is to be represented as a country in key global events such as NAFSA and EAIE. And through the market managers, we have much more enhanced opportunities, such as Tracy mentioned, the 23,000 high school guidance counsellors. I'm not sure I get much sleep if I try to access them on a weekly basis. So it's been fantastic to be able to access that network. By entering new markets collaboratively, we're able to increase our market share and providing opportunities through the Study in Wales brand, such as new opportunities through the subgroups. We've recently been approached by Canada via the new opportunities with the ILE, and really exciting opportunities going forward that perhaps individually as institutions we may not be able to access on our own. I sit on a number of the subgroups, and above all else, it's really important for the market intelligence. So I'm on the USA Champions, Scholarships, Marketing, and the Outward Mobility Group, which on a personal level was extremely supportive as we went through the touring application, and as we now look forward to the ILE and the opportunities that will bring for reciprocal exchange and work across the world. The Study in Wales brand has longevity. Sustainability is at the heart of our institution and at the heart of the Global Wales brand, and indeed is at the heart of our international education. The country-to-country links provides new opportunities in Vietnam. As we've heard this morning, we've hosted many high-level diplomatic delegations that build a profile for Wales and increase our soft term power. So it's about that longevity and sustainability with our market share. And the development and the management of the scholarships has been really beneficial over the last couple of years. And the opportunities to work with Fulbright and Gilman, and something that perhaps we as institutions wouldn't have had the capacity to build on their own. And the Asset Wales brand and the opportunity to have high quality marketing materials, particularly in the last 15 months when we haven't been able to get out there with a photographer, where we haven't been able to have that group work. The fact that we've been able to access for country specific campaigns has been excellent. And from my personal point of view, this year is my 20th year at UWTSD, and I really feel that we're at kind of a really strong point. We do work together. It is a team effort within international education in Wales. We work together to improve our environment, our economy, our society and our culture. This is really, really true about how each international department has worked together to support one another, to support the students, and especially as we've navigated our way through the last 15 months and through the pandemic, and to ensure that we've remained open, supportive and consistent in our messaging as an outward-facing knowledge economy. And I'm really proud to be part of the Study in Wales team, and I'll hand back over to Lorena for questions.
Thank you, Kath. Thank you very much. Everybody will probably have spotted, we are running slightly tight on time, which I think is just a reflection on the depth and the breadth of the work that has gone on across this partnership, and to actually have Kath to present a sort of how that then plays out in practice for an HE institution, I think is really valuable addition to that programme of 3 speakers. We do have a couple of questions that have been posted in the chat, so I hope everybody will forgive me if we just run over slightly in order to pick those up. The first one from David, David Price, was targeted at you, Craig. So if I can actually send this one your way. The question is, what work is either being undertaken or planned to help to understand the impact of the work around the brand and the separate pillars?
Okay, so the work of the brand we measure independently. So obviously we can measure all our analytics and things like that. The reach of Wales as a destination is a different thing, and we're only part of that story, but and that's a bigger thing for us to measure. We do have a number of external elements that we buy into, so the Nation Brand Index and things like that, to see the response to how Wales is perceived internationally. It's very early days, and it's a very top level view of the world. If I'm totally honest, it's great to see how Wales is perceived, but we've got a lot of work for, first of all, to reach a lot of these audiences and for them to understand that Wales is a nation in itself, let alone be able to recall it from advertising or anything else. So we've got a lot of work to do in that side of things. As I mentioned, it's not just our role, and we work very closely with our a lot of external partners. So for the Euros, we've just done a big partnership with the Football Association of Wales. We've done the same for the Rugby World Cup out in Japan previously, with the Welsh Rugby Union. We do have a set of metrics for measuring the brand. Each of the areas of the brand will have a set of questions and intercept surveys and things like that along their digital platforms. Our research facility within the department is very small, but they do a great job of analysing that data and then following up on some of it as well to delve a little deeper into the individual areas and then bring that together as a picture for some of our measurements. I think that sums up a lot of it. If there's anything in particular, was it David, then please feel free to contact me. I'm not sure exactly how much of the reporting I can share immediately, but I'm happy to answer any questions in addition to that.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Craig. Now, the other question is probably better directed to Tracy, but I'm not sure if we've still got Tracy with us because her video looks frozen to me. Tracy, are you still with us? No, I think we might have lost Tracy. So it is actually a question that does mention both Visit Wales and Global Wales. Okay. But I was, Tracy,
can you see me now? Sorry, yeah, I've got.
Oh, well, your video's frozen for me. I don't know whether it is for everybody else. Is it frozen for you as well, Craig? But we can hear you. So should we go with that? Because your voice is the most important element.
No problem.
So we've got a question around, are there any plans for Global Wales and Visit Wales to promote all international education sectors in Wales, including FE and English language teaching?
There's sort of, yes, is the answer. The Welsh Government, if you heard the opening statement by Jeremy Miles, they're coming to the end of a programme that embraces all PSET, so tertiary HE, so that's FE, youth opportunities, sixth form, adult learning, etc. And this is all being brought together. So we've yet to see how that will differentiate our work and have an impact on our work, but we do know that we are looking and planning to look at FE and other forms of adult learning from an international perspective in the next academic year. So really it's watch this space, and there certainly are developments. Yes,
that's great. That's good to hear. Is there anything you wanted to add to that, Craig?
Just that we would follow with the lead from the ministerial guidance, and obviously with Study in Wales as well, working closely with them. So from a destination level, we would support that and bring in new content examples, and not only on the destination level for Wales.com, but across a range of our other platforms. So Visit Wales was mentioned in particular. Obviously that's a tourism audience, but still that's an aspirational element. As you've seen, a lot of the photography that you've seen today is around the things that you can do in addition to your study. So yeah, I'm happy to support where possible.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much. That is it for the questions that have been posted into the chat while you were all talking. I know I've certainly already sent that one link off to a colleague who I think will find it useful. So it's very informative, a really fantastic package with the three presentations from the Wales branding right the way through to application for an institution. So thank you all very much for presenting to us. Thank you to all of the delegates that have attended and stuck with us through the session. I think everybody has stayed with us from beginning to end. I found that really interesting, and I hope all of you have as well. Enjoy the rest of the conference and the conference programme, and I'm sure Craig made the offer for anyone to get in touch with him afterwards, but I'm sure that that offer extends from everyone here. I think conferences are partly about networking and building and expanding your network as well. So I hope you get that out of this conference too. So enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you very much, everybody.